basketball like
Yeah,
this.
I know.
And what I'm saying is that give the guy a chance.
Yes.
Kuminga's IQ, if you watched him play, we would draw a conclusion that it was low also. And guess what? Through practice, through playing, through buying in, the guy has ascended to look like a real prospect. We haven't had that opportunity to see that from Wiseman. So to label him as a low IQ player without having him benefit from all of the talent around him, Draymond Green, Steph, is just totally unfair.
Well, what I don't get, okay, this is what I don't get. The season started around Halloween.
Mhm.
It's now February 4th. Everybody who knows anything about the NBA knows that the first half of an NBA regular season has very little importance, especially if your goal is to just be 500. Why are we sitting here in early February knowing the same amount about James Wiseman as we knew on opening night?
Yeah.
Progress the story, Steve. Keep the team moving, Steve. I love Steve. I think he's smart. But what you have to learn about your competition, but you also have to learn about your own players. You've got some really young players. What I was hoping to see was right anytime they got him healthy, let's say that was middle of November, whatever it was, put him out there for 25 games, give him a full run of minutes. I don't care if you win or lose. Let's develop the big man so that you got a shot with him, or if he doesn't fit, then move on. It's literally like having the girlfriend that you're just leaving at the house every night. Just come on, take her out on a date or let her go. You know, I mean, at this point, James Wiseman has value.
Yes.
He's got value to you and he's got value to other teams. And you're not doing best by James and his career to just sit him and let him wallow away on your bench. Make a GD decision. Either keep the guy and play him and develop him, or shop him. And you got a week to figure it out.
Got 5 days.
I think they are
Does
shopping him.
does anybody disagree with me?
No, I don't.
Not at all. Again, you draft the premise when you drafted him was this is a project you need to develop. And so it's like I don't know where the development is. I mean, the injuries, Bob Myers was on 95.7 The Game on Wednesday. I envy those two guys so much for having that kind of access because that's really the only media he ever does, right? And so I always pay really close attention to that interview. And he did not sound like he was giving Wiseman a ringing endorsement. So that's just how Myers felt. Like he literally was saying this is cutthroat, and he attributed the injuries, though, as being a huge catalyst for why the team's kind of giving up on Wiseman. He kept saying he's a good kid. Down the road, he might be good. But just, he's like every time I think the words were, and don't quote me verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing, but he said every time they counted on him or they were ready to play him, he's been injured. Right. And that sucks, but at the same time, it's like, okay,
was he injured tonight?
Try him out. Yeah. It just sucks. And, for the people for example, some people criticize him for his hands, right? He did not have that hands problem his rookie year. Like that is something that developed over time he's got serious mental issues, man. This is a confidence thing. And the team is failing him. That's a perspective that I have.
Tonight was a night that I thought when Curry went out, I thought, you know what? The offense is slowing down. They don't have anybody. It's becoming a half-court game. Why not put Wiseman in there? Because Dallas had no size. Throw the ball down to Wiseman. Give him a couple shots and see how he does. I mean, he could have probably posted up and, did that little left hook that from 5 feet. And because they didn't have anybody to guard him. They might have put McGee in the game at that time, but still, I thought that was a good time. They were up by like 15, and then all of a sudden they were up by like 18, and it dropped to 9. But when they were up by 18, and you could see that they were getting stagnant, and it was going to come a half-court game all of a sudden because they didn't have Steph, I thought that would have been a perfect time to see Wiseman.
And he's a lob threat, right? Like he's a total lob threat, and yeah, he brings so much. I don't get it.
Here's the
Play
problem.
the man or at this. I don't. Yeah, it just sucks.
They don't want
until March. I mean,
they don't want to have the same experience that Chicago is having with Lauri Markkanen. Bottom line, They don't want to see this guy go somewhere else and start to develop and kick ass because, whoa, Chicago Bulls needs a big. Lauri Markkanen would be really good. You had him and you gave him away because you said he couldn't play. And that's the issue with the Warriors. It's like, yo, run a pick and roll offense if he's not the best suited for your pass conscious offense. I mean, but this kid can play basketball.
Yep.
And to see him languish on the bench and talk about trade proposals.
It's wiping him out, too. You could see it in his demeanor. He has this deer in the headlight look a lot when he's on the bench as the game goes along and he sees I'm not playing again and I got another DMP. Half at a timeout, you go over to Wiseman. He's kind of looking down. He looks dejected. I was watching him tonight and, he was cheering first half of the team. And he's into the game. And then second half, late in the third quarter, it's like he's just had that down look like, another night. I mean, I'm just riding pine.
Amar Singh says Wiseman wants to be a wing, and he's right. He's right. He loves the face-up game, and he's not an awesome rebounder. I mean, I can tell right now that's the case. But I agree. We don't really have the full picture.
I don't agree.
He doesn't ever get out there enough. I get the feeling that he's just a player that needs some rhythm. It's basketball is so much about rhythm. And you know what? The Warriors have like 9 assistant coaches. What's Delos Milicevic do? What's his Dejan Milicevic?
That's a travesty. They brought him in.
He's making a fat check coming over from Serbia. He was the guy that worked with Jokic.
Yes.
We were told he was going to develop this big man. He hasn't developed anything.
Yes, you're right. And he should be, I feel like he should be in Santa Cruz when Wiseman is in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what the hell are you doing on this staff? You're just stealing money. But going back to the Wiseman thing real quick, I do disagree that he's a bad rebounder. Because again, his rookie season, he was averaging 21 minutes a game and he was pulling in five and a half boards. In the Christmas Day game against the Grizzlies, again, in 8 minutes of play, he pulled in 5 boards. If you code, and he's starting to like pick up what his role needs to be. I also think his biggest strength defensively is while he likes to face up, I do agree. But if you put him in pick and roll situations, he thrives. Like he's a good pick and roll player. Mm-hmm. The Warriors don't run pick and roll. Right. And again, this comes down to coaching, right? Like, and look, the whole split action offense that Kerr runs, it's a derivative of the triangle. It's a simpler version of that, right?
And Princeton,
which is still very complex, though.
Yeah,
so that's part of what makes these lottery picks struggle with the offense, and I think that may be why, that's why Kerr sometimes is getting upset, and maybe that's why Ty Jerome and Anthony Lambert are quickly getting minutes is because they're picking the system up faster. But at the same time, it's like, again, you don't give up on the kid if he's not just immediately picking up what only you coach. Like you can sometimes do pick and roll. When you had Kevin Durant, they switched that all the time, man. Like it just shows.
They did it in the finals against Boston.
Yeah,
they did it. They did it in the finals against Boston. Exactly. So listen, man.
I gotta get you on Locked On Warriors, by the way. We'll talk, man. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, listen. We all love Kerr.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him as a player. I think he's a brilliant guy. But for him, and let me stop that. It's not only him, but for this narrative to be presented that Wiseman can't play, when as a coach and as an organization, part of your responsibility is to maximize the talent of your players. And that sometimes means shifting your offense, shifting your defense. I would love to see, because Wiseman gets beat sometimes, I would love to see Wiseman just be the weak side defender to come over to the strong side with his hands up, to deter strong offensive players and grab rebounds. I just don't see that versatility. I just don't see that diversiveness with Wiseman. And that bothers me because I think the kid can play.